Hi everyone, I'm here in my favorite room in the house, with all my lovely stuffed animals. They're so cozy and soft, and it's a nice comfortable spot just to sit and relax with a good book. Speaking of good books, I have one for you. Can you see that? It's called Pumpkin Jack, and Pumpkin Jack was both written and illustrated by Will Hubbell. Now, this is a great book because it's something that a lot of us go through this time of year. Now, think about it. You get your pumpkin, you got it all decorated, and maybe you've carved it out and you left it outside. And over time, as the weeks and months go by, something happens to your pumpkin. Doesn't look the way it did when you first made that jack-o'-lantern, does it? Well, let's find out what happened in this book. When Tim carved his first pumpkin, it was fierce and funny and just perfect. A jack-o'-lantern this good deserved a name, so Tim gave it one, Jack. Long after the best trick-or-treat candy was eaten, Tim still kept Jack. At night, when a candle made Jack's face dance on the wall and filled the dark with warm pumpkin smells, Tim felt Jack was almost magic, yet too soon the spell was broken. "This pumpkin is beginning to rot," announced Mom. "It's time to throw it out." Tim knew it was useless to argue. He carried Jack to the garden, which was filled with the brown ghosts of last summer's plants. A dead garden is better than a trash can, thought Tim. Still, it made him sad to leave Jack outside and alone. Whenever chores or play brought Tim to the garden, he looked at Jack. Every time Jack was different. He became wrinkled and his fierce smile began to look silly. Look closely at it. Look, the mouth is starting to cave in. It's starting to kind of squish down. You'll see some wrinkles. Has that ever happened to your pumpkin? Mold spread over Jack's bright orange skin. As the days turned colder, Jack grew flatter. Now this is the mold they're talking about, this white, like powdery stuff. And look, he's getting smaller and smaller. His eyes look squinty. Jack doesn't look so good, does he? Winter began. Soon Jack was hidden beneath the snow, and Tim forgot about him. The cold, heavy jacket days came. Snowman sliding days, indoor days, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Valentine's. When all these days had passed and the March winds melted the snow, Tim found Jack. You could barely see him under there. The only telltale sign is the stem, right? There wasn't much left, just a faded and crumpled pumpkin skin, a stem, and a few seeds. Jack's Halloween magic was a distant memory now. Tim scraped a thin blanket of earth over the last bits of his pumpkin. "Goodbye, Jack," he whispered. See, there's the seeds. The stem kind of fell off. What a shame. When spring turned barefoot warm, a tiny sprout appeared where Jack had been. Tim found it and guessed what it was. Look at that. What do you think it is? In the days that followed, Tim weeded and watered and watched the sprout. Slowly and steadily, the plant changed and grew. It branched and spread a web of vines over the ground, but no pumpkins appeared. The days turned hot. Flowers opened on the plant each morning, yellow stars that twisted shut forever in the afternoon. Still, there were no pumpkins. Look at that beautiful yellow flower. There's a bunch of them ready to pop open. Finally, Tim found a little green ball growing behind a crumpled blossom. Look at that! And there's another one. Tim let out a whoop and ran to show his mom. It's a pumpkin! By August, the plant had spilled onto the lawn. Tim's favorite game became pumpkin hunting. He carefully waded among the leaves, searching for green pumpkins like hidden treasures. Kind of like an Easter egg hunt, right? School began again and the days cooled. Tim had less time to visit the garden. When he did, the pumpkin plant seemed tired. There were few new leaves, and the old tattered ones no longer hid the fat green pumpkins. Then one October morning, Tim woke to see frost coating the garden. The frozen plants seemed changed to pale blue grass. Look at how big it got. After school, Tim discovered what the frost had done. The pumpkin plant's leaves were as limp as wet paper. It was dying. Tim searched among the withered leaves for the unripe pumpkins. He picked them and put them on the front porch, hoping for one more change. Look at that. Ooh. By Halloween, the pumpkins had ripened to bright orange. There were many, for the plant had been generous. Tim was generous too. He gave away all but one. Oh, isn't that nice? He shared with all his friends. That put a smile on their faces, right? From jack-o'-lantern to seed to pumpkin again. The circle was almost complete. Now it was time for Tim to do his part. He gave his pumpkin a face. It smiled at him in a fierce and funny way. Tim smiled too and said, "Welcome back, Jack." So what did you think? Wasn't this a great book? I mean, I love the fact that it gives you the whole kind of circle of life, of a plant. So we start out, well, he started out at the end, I guess, the pumpkin. He had taken the pumpkin, carved it, and over time it decomposed and got kind of gross and moldy and messy and squishy. But the seeds were left, right? And the seeds are what starts the plant. So by the seeds just being on the ground, they got smushed down, maybe by somebody walking over it, or the snow and the leaves on top of it pushing it down. The rain came down, the sun, all the things we need for a plant to grow. And then eventually it sprouted a little leaf and then became a flower and then grew into a pumpkin again. So it brings us full circle. I love that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope that if you loved this book and like books like it, you'll come back, subscribe, like, share with others, and maybe we'll do a little, picture with a pumpkin and the life cycle of a pumpkin. And I hope that if you make a jack-o'-lantern this year, you do this, because I think that would be fun if, when you take the seeds out. I love to roast pumpkin seeds, so maybe we'll do that as an activity because they're so yummy. But keep a couple on the side and plant them in your own garden, or let them fall as they may and see if it grows. I know that's happened to friends of mine where just, the pumpkin got smashed, or, they kind of composted it and then a pumpkin grew in its place. So if you like pumpkins as much as I do and you want to plant for next year, just take a couple seeds and put them out there. I hope you'll join us next week for more activities and more read-alouds. And until then, it's Mimi saying goodbye, friends.